Grand Rising, everybody. It's your Coach Renz. What's going on with your peoples? We are on Thursday. Great, glorious day. Just getting people time to shine in. We're going to talk today about on the live. Now, we go live technically every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Not on Saturday, Sunday. We will be skipping this upcoming Monday because I'll be out of town. We're coming in from town. But Tuesday is the only day that we have a definite subject matter that will not change, which is what's wrong with the Bible as we are literally reading through. We just finished Leviticus and we'll be starting in Numbers next week. But today, we are having this conversation today, and hopefully we can get some good commentary from some good people. See what y'all got to say. We're going to talk about the fact that the devil ain't real. Yahweh ain't real. The biblical version of heaven ain't real. Hell, it ain't real. I don't know what's wrong with me today. Grand Rising, Honey Hogan. Big love. Bing love. How we doing today, good people, good people. You know, we're going to really get started at the 5-minute mark. So this is the time for us to say, hey, how you doing? Gotta tell you. Yeah, I can do that. Okay, cool. Now, I don't usually talk about food. But if you live in a town that has this little Guatemalan restaurant called Pollo Campero, y'all gotta go. I don't usually just advertise stuff like that, but we accidentally discovered that joint. That place is good. Pollo Campero or Camperos, something like that. But it's good. Richie, where you been, man? Ricky. Today we're going to talk about the devil, Yahweh. I started to put Jesus, but Yahweh, Jesus, supposed to be the same thing. Heaven, hell, it all fake. It's all fake. It's fake news. I'm telling you, it's fake news. It's going to be great. It's going to be stupendous. It's going to be the best ever. But it's fake. So this weekend I'll be Friday. Tomorrow we're still gonna have a show tomorrow. Still mixing videos and publish those. Saturday and Sunday and Monday I'll be out of town. So Monday probably won't have a show, most likely. If there is one, it'll be later in the evening, but I'm not exactly sure if I'm gonna be able to do that. What up, Brian from South Africa? So Rich said might not be on time, but y'all always follow up. Appreciate it. So we won't have a show on Monday. I remind you guys of that again throughout the weekend. That probably won't have a show on Monday unless it's later on in the evening. But that is really I already know it's probably not gonna be. But I gotta tell you. This conversation, I'm gonna need you guys. I'm really looking for you guys' input, what your thought process on it is, because this is the big deal here. This was a big deal for people when you are deconstructing this question of the devil, Yahweh, heaven, hell, all of it. So it's a major thing to have to deal with. Grand Rising Jeremy. You right on time, Jeremy, because we just getting started. Just getting started, right? Now, welcome to the live broadcast of Wildlife Religion with Coach Renz. It is great to see you all here. I'm glad that you are here to participate in this most thrilling conversation concerning heaven, hell, the devil, Yahweh, the great battle of time that has been going on since the beginning of time. Since the first time that man was able to look up into the stars and fantasize about what could and could not be, what created this existence, and where does this existence go thereafter, man has questioned. Ever since they recognized that things happen on the planet that are good and things that are bad, man questions, are there certain sort of deity that's divinely over each aspect of the good and the bad, heaven, hell, Yahweh, the devil, all created by the visions of man? We shall begin today. Sorry. So you got you looking at how particularly people are brainwashed. Grand Rising Dwayne, James, Grand Rising. I understand that. South Africa, it's about to be really nice in South Africa because y'all are about to go into your summertime. But it was cold a couple months ago. So, before I even get started, I want to hear what you guys got to say about heaven, hell, Yahweh, the devil. How, for those who have deconstructed, let me be more exact. For those who have deconstructed already, what was it like to go through the process of realizing that there's no heaven in the sense that the Bible depicts heaven? Like, to let that part go. I know it's easy to let the devil, hell, for most people, that's one that's easier to let go. It's actually a relief. But the heaven part, how was that? How was that part? Hey, Coach Renz, have you given props on the last couple reels you put out? Oh, have to give you props. Oh, thank you. Right. Cammy. Gotcha. Grand Rising Cammy. You were told that after we die, you spend an eternity worshiping God in heaven. If I did believe with the Gnostic view of. So, but how did it feel? How was it going through the process of saying the heaven part? To let go of the Bible also means you got to let go of what the Bible is talking about as far as heaven. Like, how did that feel? Where did that take you? What was your mindset? I want everybody to answer this question. It was the Gnostic view of Satan. And what's the Gnostic view of Satan from your perspective? I just want to make sure we got the same thought. Or not make sure we have the same thought, but see what your thought is. Dwayne said everything for him was easy and make his own happiness. Being able to say it was easy, had a problem with this book for a while. Cammy was what the F? It was no different from the hell part. It was a relief. He's not the real source, but a prison master. Okay. Grand Rising Michelle. Oh, hell, I'm going to have two Michelles on here now. For me, it was very emotional. I was angry, upset with my ancestors, the church. This was 2 years ago, but now I'm good. I'm balanced and grounded. Good for you, Michelle. That's great. That's awesome. It never made sense to me as a kid. Logic didn't add up with what I witnessed in Baltimore and the world. Okay. And Jeremy said it was scary at first because it's the indoctrination. Some of us from birth. So it requires a level of mental strength and time to deconstruct. It does. I'm listening. What? No heaven, no hell. Yep. And I was just asking everybody, Melissa Graham Rising, what was it like to realize that there was no heaven in the way the way you was indoctrinated into the Bible? What was that process? What did that feel like? Like accepting the fact that there was no hell, that was easy. Now, no problem. But then realizing that if there is no hell, then there is no heaven, in the sense that the Bible had taught you. I ain't gonna lie, I struggled. I think that was one of the lasting holdouts. And one of the reasons is my grandmother. I was like, oh my God, there's no heaven. Because at that time frame, I was still going through it from losing my grandmother. I mean, I went through it for losing my grandmother for probably a good decade. Especially because I knew it was coming and I went away to Bosnia. And so I felt like I should have just went AWOL from the military just to be there. So I carried a lot of guilt. So I desperately wanted to see her again. Yeah, you know what I mean? See her again, apologize, the whole deal. So losing the idea of heaven was a struggle. In that sense of heaven, in the biblical sense of heaven. Now, I never wanted to go to heaven when I was a kid. Because who the hell wants to go there and just sit there and praise God all day? That didn't make any sense. But when back then, with my thought process back then, without understanding alchemy and the hermetic laws and things like that, it was a struggle. It was a struggle because I wanted my grandmother. In my opinion, it's about consciousness, higher, lower self. We're all spirits, either good or bad. God and the devil is in all of us. I use the word God loosely. Colonizers, colonialism, and social media controls our reality and fear. Yeah. I am right there with you, Brett, in pretty much everything you said. It is about consciousness. But you see, when I first let go of the heaven hell thing, I didn't understand that yet. I wasn't there. I didn't understand hermetics. I didn't understand alchemy, different planes of consciousness, interdimensional, none of those things. Reincarnation was just as foreign to me of a thought. So I didn't understand a lot of those things. The only thing I knew, I wasn't gonna see my grandmother anymore. That was my whole thing. Fear, uncertainty, confusion, doubt. That's the way I felt before I gained knowledge from researching people like yourself. That's what's up, Diving. I'm with you. That was my process as well. I was already gaining information, which would let me out. But then I had to continue gaining more and more and more information. And the internet back then wasn't like it is now. Like I'm talking about, y'all don't understand dial up and DSL unless you, if you ain't over 40 in your 40s, you don't understand. Can't nobody get on the phone when you're on the internet. Or then when DSL came out, you was able to, but y'all don't understand that. Y'all don't know what. Y'all don't understand that noise right there, you know. But we didn't. It wasn't like this. You couldn't communicate with people like this. It was very rudimentary. So it was a struggle. She's still with you. She stands behind you. to your right side, step proud and know that she knows how you feel. Yeah, I don't ever feel like my grandmother's not with me anymore. I just had that that reunion. You know what they teach you in church? That we all gonna get to heaven, gonna have a big old family reunion. You know they teach you that. At least in the South they teach you that. So I was counting on that, but I understand what you're saying. Appreciate you, Melissa. They teach us in the physical to pray, to prayers, they worship God, and worship God. And when I died, to do the same thing in heaven is better. I remain with my free will on earth, with God, with good health and strength, and live forever peacefully. Yeah. As soon as they said that worship in heaven thing, I was like, man, y'all crazy. I'm not gonna sit up there. It's like church all day. Who wants to do that? That's hell. That literally be hell if all you're doing is praising this God all day and night. All day. No. Grand Rising Norman, how you doing? I understand that one, Donovan. I said, I don't know what, no, it wasn't. I don't know what you're referring to on that one. I was trying to spell that sound. Yeah. I look at Hassan said, I also look because I'm gonna mess up your Denjal. I think it's how you say it, Denjal. Also live Christianity, flat earth, yeah. I am the Sabbath, all scripture but denied. And the biggest denial of Black Yahushua. Heaven is on earth on the next remake. I think I got what you're saying, but you left all that stuff and heaven is here. And right, it's here. Actually, when you look at a lot of the writings from not just the Bible, but other texts as well, they consistently tell you that the kingdom or heaven, whichever one you want to call it, is in front of you, it's all around you. I like how the Gospel of Thomas says that it's in front of you, but the veils have been placed over your eyes, meaning church and government and all that has placed the veil over your eyes so that you can't see it. Melissa said, I teach that I'm a goddess and have human experience. Yeah. We're having experiences. Now, I do agree that when you say that you are, I don't like when people say, I don't agree. I don't agree when people say that God, the creator, the all, made us so that it can have a human experience. That would make that deity less than. But you as an individual aspect, totally different. But ultimately, it was the Bible itself that gave me strength in non-belief, because the more you read and understand it, the easier it is to realize what it really is. So praise the Bible for my disbelief. Boy, I'm going to steal that one, Jeremy. I'm telling you right now, consider that stolen. I like the way you phrased that one. I want to give thanks to the Bible for my non-belief. Thank you, O Bible, for all your genocide that caused me to realize that you are an immoral book. Thank you for all the sexual abuse and the killing of the babies that opened my eyes to the narcissistic maniac that this deity Yahweh. Yes, Jeremy, that's on point, my guy. Thank you. Then, child, exactly. The more you study scripture, the more you know religion is wrong. That is exactly right. Exactly right. Well, I tell you, y'all make my day sometimes. So let's start in this conversation. Thank you guys for opening up, for expressing what it was like for you to go through that process. It's different for everybody. We ultimately, it seems like most of us wind up walking away from this religion because we started actually studying and reading the book. And in studying and reading this book, there are quite a few things that you come to realize that's bullshit and comes off as doctrine and not so much as the actual teachings of this book. That if you read it, you can't come away with it with the same ideas that the doctrine teaches. Originally, I was going to make this live just about Satan, about the devil. But as the more I thought about it this morning, I was like, no, actually that would incorporate heaven, hell, and the entire scheme of things. If the devil is eliminated, then so does go this deity. So does, if both of those are gone, then hell is gone and then heaven is gone. So then none of those things of this book, as described in this book, will then be real. So let's add all of them to the mix because they are all attached to one another. So the first indication that this heaven hell situation, understanding the time frame of the writings of this book, meaning that when it was written, Job is supposed to be from my understanding, Job is the first book that was written. Job is the oldest book, right? Now, when you look at Job in the oldest book, the first person that they call evil, that the doctrine is saying is evil, is the Satan, right? The Satan is the first one. Clinton is with me on that prayer. All right. Who is the Satan in this story? Let's go through this story just for a second, and I'm abbreviating. I'm not gonna go and read the dang old thing. I'm just we're gonna summarize. Dark matter style. No, I ain't gonna do a dark matter style. That joke is stupid. But so basically, you have Job, good dude, doing his thing. He believes in this God. He's worshiping this guy. He's not committing any sins. It almost sounds like he's Jesus, right? Because he ain't done nothing. Okay, almost had a breakdown. You had a breakdown? Yeah. For some people, it affects them very deeply. So I understand. I thought I was going to lose my family, and I'm very big on family. So you got this guy, Job. Job is damn near Jesus, right? If you think about it, this book describes Job in the beginning as if he is a man that is without sin, period. No sin whatsoever. Because I believe it says that he's blameless, right? So then Job is chilling. He's still doing his thing. He's an older dude. He got his kids. His kids are adults. He's good. God convenes a heavenly court. Now, right off the bat, this shows that these people had polytheistic thought processes. God in this heavenly court is very similar to what you have when you have, and I'm going to go ahead and put it out there, the Anunnaki. And when they have their courts with Anu holding court, and all the other Anunnakis are present having discussions. Now, this is being done in the heavens, equivalent to if it's being done when you read the Sumerian stories, equivalent to them having court on Nibiru. If you look at some of the stories, a lot of your conversations when Anu is involved, it happens on Nibiru or it happens on a spaceship. One or two, right? Excuse me. Anu was rarely on Earth. So, and the reason why I bring the Sumerians up and how these stories are similar is because of the one word. The one word. Yahweh or Anu calls forward the Satan. All right, Grand Rising Texas Goddess. Brant and Valentino, Grand Rising, brings forward the Satan. In the Sumerian language, the Satan means the administrator. Okay? It means the administrator. As a matter of fact, in the story of Genesis, in the Sumerians, it says that the Satan was walking in the garden during the cool of the day and asked Adam, and then happened upon Adam and Eve and saw that she was pregnant, right? But it says the Satan, because that just means administrator. Enlil was the administrator of earth, meaning that he was in charge of earth. Anu was the king of all the Anunnakis, but as far as the providence of earth, Enlil was the dude in charge. So in the Job story, when they said the Satan, he was like, how are things going? Anu is asking Enlil, how are things going with the gold production on earth? That's what he's like, how things going on earth with the gold production. How are the little clone humans that we made? How's everything going with them? You know, the little kingdoms we set up, how's everything going? It's pretty much what Anu was asking in the Sumerian story. But it's the same, it's just very similar. So Job, he's like, hey, everything is good. Everything is good. And this is where they start taking their Hebrew liberties. Is that then this, and y'all know this part, then this so-called deity Yahweh says, you notice Job? You notice my boy Job? And you're like, okay, yeah, I noticed Job. He all right. Job is faithful. And the Satan is being a psychologist. And you ain't got to be a psychologist to understand this. It's just using that as a term. He's only your boy. He's only faithful to you because you give him everything. I mean, isn't that how it works? Why would you be with somebody or be faithful to somebody that keeps dogging the shit out you, keep punishing you, keep coming at you? I mean, that's abusive. And if they capture you and beat the shit out you, yeah. But if you have the ability to decide not to be faithful to that person, you wouldn't. Most of us, if you are in if you work somewhere and they're not paying you enough, you leave. You leave. If you are living in, I remember we had moved to this one apartment complex, and this one lady in the building, she's just nasty. And it didn't matter how many times you bug that damn apartment, no matter how much you complain to the building, to the leasing people, you just always had to fight these goddamn roaches. So my mom, when the lease was over, she moved. Because it wasn't conducive. So Job here, of course Job is cool. And you know, the Satan, he points that out. The Satan didn't have it in for Job. He wasn't even bothering Job. He wasn't saying that, ooh, look, Job is loving this God. And Job is he got great kids. He got a whole bunch of money, got a great house. Job is doing great. If I let Job keep doing great, then other people might say, let me be faithful to this God and follow this God, because look at what he did for Job, right? The Satan never did that. The Satan never even bothered Job. Obviously knew about Job, but never bothered Job. And what did they tell you in church? That when you become faithful to this God, that's when the devil tries to attack you, right? When you are going out and you're proselytizing this God, that's when the devil tries to attack you. That's when negative things happen to you. But the devil wasn't bothering Job. I know it's supposed to be about how the jokers don't exist, but I just can't help it. The devil wasn't even bothering Job, letting Job do whatever Job wanted to do. Job was effectively having cause and effect, doing good business and being a good father, being a good husband, and he got a good wife. for the most part. got good kids for the most part. And he got animals and livestock, making that dough. God know the devil ain't got nothing to do with what Job was getting. I'll make sure I don't miss too many of y'all's statements. Ray, ain't nobody talking about too fair. Yeah, the demons are inside of people. And those who have gone before us and who coming after them. Danjal, you're Nordic. They're not tales. They're true. Asgard exists outside the ice wall. I hope you're joking. So anyway, we got this. I mean, it's because if you think about it, they tell you over and over again that when you come into this spirit, that's when the devil attacks. But the devil didn't do shit. He let Job do Job. He let Job have free will to do whatever he wants. Now, the conversation went that Job was Satan, the Satan, Enlil, the administrator, who's running earth. Now, here's another problem with their whole devil God thing. If the Satan is the devil, how is the devil up in heaven? How the devil in heaven? While there's humans on earth. Let me make sure that part is in there. While there's humans on earth, why is the devil in heaven? Because correct the brother if I'm wrong, but according to the quotations in the Bible of the book of Enoch, the book of Enoch is not in the Bible, but they're quoting the book of Enoch. Prior to the creations of man, in between, maybe it was happening on that on the fifth day. Satan supposedly warred against God, and a third of the angels joined in, right? And then their punishment, was to have been cast down to earth, right? They were cast down to earth. Earth is their prison. Now, and they thought inside the earth, that's their prison. That was these people back then. They thought inside the earth, they were cast down to earth. And then I think it's somewhere in Isaiah, Ezekiel, where it says God cannot be present where there is evil. So how in the 3 levels of hell is the Satan up there in heaven saying, I've been going to and fro, heaven and earth, which is what Enlil was doing in the Sumerian story. He was going back and forth from the Biru to earth. We're going to get to that part, Brian. We're going to get there. Knowing people's dirty work and burning people for him. Right. Exactly. Oh, I see what you're saying, Brian. My bad. I see what you're saying. We're going to get there too. Matter of fact, hell no. Let's hit that right now. Brian said, and how is the devil doing God's dirty work of burning people for him? It doesn't make sense. No, it doesn't. Okay, I want y'all to think about what Brian is saying right there. Oh, wait a minute. Oh. Something is not right. Think about what Brian is saying. Brian is effectively saying that. Oh, is that I am? Okay. This devil who warred against God, who does not agree with God, who wanted to rule the earth, rule the universe, is at the end of the story is going to punish the people who didn't believe in this God. The devil wanted people to believe in him. But since God defeated him in a battle, and really God didn't, like the Archangel Michael supposedly the one who did it. This God is this devil is going to say, okay, well, I lost the battle. You chained me up on earth for however long, and then we fought, and I fought in the battle against you, and then you took me to the lake of fire, and all these other souls came down here with me, and I'm just going to torture them on your behalf. You know, come on, man. Once a revolutionary, always a revolutionary. He be down there like, nah, y'all, we ain't doing that. We're going to fight against the machine. We're fighting against the machine. Matter of fact, we ain't going to do no punishment down here. It's going to be a party down here. Grand Rising Butterfly. So, I want y'all to think about that. I mean, Brian makes a good point there. Makes a good point. I'm with you, Debbie. Demons are just the evil that is within all of us. If you let that supersede you, if you let that grow and supersede your God is inside you, then yeah, your ass is a demon. And your energy can go out towards other people. And they can feel you. And if you got a person who does not have good strength as far as good mental willpower, you can affect their energy as well. Your negative can affect their positive. If you just want to look at it as negative and positive energies, your negative can affect their positive, thereby causing them to be negative. You know, walk into a room of a whole bunch of sad ass people and you trying to be happy. Either you got to be strong enough to make everybody happy, or you're going to turn into a sad ass yourself. But this Job story, this illustrates this jacked up God and devil. Even though this ain't about Job, this is about how these entities don't exist. But Job is just so perfect because everywhere else in this book, it's always like the devil and God are adversaries. But yet, they friends. They work and they co-workers. They're co-workers. And so you guys know the story. Satan, you know, they make a bet. They never say what the wager is, but they make a bet. So this tyrant plays around with this man's life. And at the end of the story, Job gets diseases. His kids die. He loses his farm, his animals, all his wealth. He's mutilated. They didn't kill his wife, which was interesting. But I understand why they didn't kill his wife, because they're going to need to give him some more babies at the end. And it would just make more sense for him to get some new babies. But they kill his wife, they kill his kids, they kill all the animals. And then here we are left with, and then Job is like, hey, man, I don't understand this. I've been doing everything right, but yet I still went through all this calamity. And then this guy gets angry and chastises the shit out of Job. Where were you when the heavens were laid? Where can you make the lightning bolts? You know, he get all like, I know I fucked up, Job. He couldn't just say, Job, you know what, my bad. I fucked up. I messed up. I was talking to Satan. I got all caught up, man. And then next thing I know, I done made a bet with this fool. And sorry, bro. I messed up. Nope. You know that person? Everybody knows that person. But you know that person that even when they wrong, they got to act like they got to force you to think that they right? That's that controlling person. Like that controlling person. They wrong, but they going to figure out how to make sure that they are right and you still wrong. You know, I literally had an argument with a person one time where we went back and forth, and I was like, that is not what happened. That is not what happened last week. I'm telling you, that's not what happened. But then they said, oh, that's what I was thinking. That was in my head for that to happen. So that's why I'm still right. Can nobody read what's in your mind? So how you that don't make you right. You're still wrong. In the matter plane reality, XYZ did not happen. So just because you had XYZ in your head last week does not make XYZ happen. So that's what this guy did. I still gotta be right. Hold on, let me read some of these comments before they get too far away. Yes, why punish people for doing what the Satan did in question and didn't praise him? I think he liked those people and not punish them. Exactly. I think that if there was this Satan that was in this hell, they'd be like, hey, I like y'all. We gonna have a good time. What y'all drinking? What kind of y'all like? Y'all, you got your feet warm? You too hot, too cold? What you need? You want some sand, Pebble Beach? What you got? Whatever you want. Whatever you want. What kind of food y'all like? The characters referred to as Satan's shared knowledge to Eve by letting her. We're gonna get to Genesis. Hold on. Honestly, I feel that there is a supernatural power in all of us, and I do believe that there's deities that have existed and that they still exist in this realm and other realms. I'm inclined to go with you on that one, Butterfly. Right. We can't be the only beings in this whole universe. So many galaxies, planets. Right, it's too much. The math don't work. The math don't work for that. The math don't work for that. But so in wrapping up this Job aspect of this story, we see that this Satan is an administrator, that they took this story. The first portion of the story is definitely taken from the Sumerian story, dealing with Enlil as the Satan and Anu as Yahweh, as it is playing the role of Yahweh in this. So interesting. Oh yeah, I just remember. No. Okay. Anyway, so this Yahweh is taking over. I mean, this Yahweh and Anu seems to be similar characters, but the Satan is not this evil devil thing that they have portrayed him to be, but merely somebody who's just doing the bidding of Yahweh, not the adversary of Yahweh. Now they would say in the Hebrew, they would say, well, the Satan means the adversary. But even in their terminology for those people back then, it's meant more like a prosecutor, right? It's the prosecutor. When you go to court, the prosecutor is not necessarily a bad person. It's just that the prosecutor works for the benefit of the court, right? It's not for the benefit of the defendant, but for the benefit of the court. So he's prosecuting you if you have done something against the state, the government. So and the prosecutor literally works for the court. So in this instant, the Satan literally works for Yahweh. It is not until you get Christians that they start changing the story, changing the meaning in the story. Right? Don't be rushing me, Brian. Don't rush me. I'm gonna get that though, but don't rush me. No, I'm about to go right there anyway because it's segues. You're messing up my segue, Brian. But so, but that's all the administrator. Even when he's considered the prosecutor, the adversary, is not adversarial to God, but adversarial to people. Adversary as a prosecutor working for this deity, right? Which then leads me to the Genesis story. Now, in the Genesis story, as I said, the Satan means the administrator, because the Genesis story goes back to the Sumerian story again. According to the Sumerian story, Anu, Enki, Enlil, and Harsag got together and they created man, right? And they went through 16 variations of splicing DNA and test tube babying and all that sort of thing, right? Yes, Christians muck up everything. And these, after 16 tries, they finally figured it out. Now, my understanding, they were taking the egg of what, this is according to their story. I'm not saying this is exactly what happened, okay? I'm confused about Satan being the morning star and Christ also being the morning star. Are these two twins or a copy of the deity itself? We're going to get there, Norman. But Satan and the morning star ain't got shit to do with each other. Put it that way. I can go ahead and tell you that part. Satan and the morning star, absolutely nothing to do with each other. Not even slightly connected. So, it's duality, to have the positive and the negative. He does what his assignment is to do. Whose assignment is to do what? But so while you're thinking about that one, Tony, Grand Rising, by the way, same to you, Norm. In the Genesis story, which we know is a copy of the Sumerian Akkadian story, they create man, Adapa and Titi. They're then placed in the enclosure of Eden. Eden is an enclosure. It is not a garden, but an enclosure. So like a laboratory, a prison camp, an enclosure. There to work and take care of the garden and the gods, the Anunnaki, right? Exactly, CJ. That's where you get "let us make man in our own image." They literally say that in the Sumerian version. Let us make man in our own image. Well, Enki says that to the court of Anu, to the court of Anu. Let us make man in our own image so that they can provide labor in order to do the work of mining the gold, right? So they are placed in the enclosure. The administrator over the enclosure is the Satan, Enlil. Enlil is still the Satan. Now the serpent is Enki, and it is they according to the Sumerians, Enki had serpent-like features about him, and so he's considered a serpent. But he was their deity that had wisdom, science, knowledge, that sort of thing. And he was always, and he liked man, he favored man, whereas Enlil couldn't stand man. I don't know who that Aruham, the opposer, is, but I know in Sumerian, the Satan just means the administrator. So in this story, Enlil is still the Satan. Enlil, yes, the Enlil who becomes Yahweh later, the Enlil who becomes El, who then becomes Yahweh in Genesis, is still the Satan. So it says the Satan walked in the garden and questioned Adam and Titi about how they got pregnant. Does paradise in Persian mean garden of the gods? I'm not sure. I would say he works like friction. You have to have heat in order to cook something. So, yes, Jeremy, we got it. The all-knowing God and his favorite angel Satan will start a rebellion and deceive his creations. Then cast out only this for and where are my glasses at? Y'all hold on for 1 second, because this ain't my reading ain't reading. You let it get all blurred up. All-knowing God knew his favorite angel Satan would start a rebellion and deceive his creation. Then cast all out only for Satan to lead his torture campaign against the people to be deceived in a domain God created for him to rule. It is either that or he didn't know and wasn't omnipotent. Omniscient. What do you mean omniscient? The Bible claims he was sorry in his heart that he created man, implying that he made a mistake and didn't know. Yeah, either he's omnipresent or he's not. And he's not. This deity is not omnipresent because he consistently shows that he did not know. And if he did know, then he's horrible at planning. Very horrible at planning. It's Abraham, the evil one, part of Zoroaster. I know Zoroaster. Well, I know him as Azura Mazda and Agramenia. Oh, but Agramenia is the name that I know him by, as Zoroaster mythos. But yes, Agramenia would be the same as the devil. If Ahriman is another name version of that name, then yeah. What I would like to know is where are the incubators that they made for us? Antarctica. Donovan, Antarctica. But that was so long ago, would they still even be using them? Why would they still use them? Unless they cloning some more of us. But that technology would be old, so they probably got some new versions of it. But back to the story. But Jeremy made the good points of what I was going to get to in this Genesis story. And according to Enoch, there was a revolt in heaven. So if there was a revolt in heaven, how is it that the serpent is in the garden? If the serpent is supposed to also be the devil, but there had already been a revolt in heaven, how was the serpent in the garden? Isn't he locked away? Chained away? How would he make it into the encampment that this God has? I'm with you, Quran. You're absolutely right. Ahura Mazda is Agramenia. I know that's Ahriman, but I'm keep saying Agramenia because that's the name I know. Agramenia is opposite, whereas Mazda was light and Abraham was darkness. Okay. But so how is he doing this? How is he present? How is he in the enclosure? How is he in the garden that has other angelic beings guarding it if the serpent was cast out? But this serpent, when you look at how they view Enki was more serpentine. But let's think about this and go into this for it. Who's the better person in the Garden of Eden story? The deity, whether it's Enlil or Yahweh, that wants to keep you stupid without the knowledge of good and evil. And I've had people try to tell me a doctrine of, well, God had a plan to bring man into higher levels of consciousness slowly, so that once he was mature enough, he would be able to handle the knowledge of good and evil. At what point is that? According to this story, you had angels in heaven with you. You had them, and they knew good and evil, and they revolted. So at what point would man get to where they can handle good and evil? No, it was never intended for man to know good and evil, but for man to just be basic, one step above chimpanzees, according to the Genesis story. At least in the Sumerian story, even though they made us for slaves, according to that story, but at least we had some level of consciousness that wasn't childlike. But they got us childlike, wants to stay like little kids. And wanted Adam and Eve to stay that way. All their children would have stayed that way. But of course, the other one, like, I want y'all to know good and evil. I want y'all to have knowledge to be able to grow. And because think about it, without the knowledge of good and evil, then how could you develop? How would you develop? Right? What would prevent you from slapping the shit out of somebody? You want that apple. You want that chair. You don't know it's not a good thing to go take it from somebody. You just go take it. And you just beat the shit out of them if they don't want to give it to you. Look at children when they don't understand good or evil yet. When they don't know what's good and what's bad yet. Look at how they act. They're not acting out of evil when they see a toy and they go over and they just take the toy from another child. To them, they just want to play with the toy. They don't know, they don't understand personal possessions. They don't understand that you might hurt the other person's feelings if you go and take that toy. They don't understand that. They just know they want the toy. They see another kid eating some candy. They want to go over there and they want to eat the candy. They don't know that they're stealing. They have some candy. They want to eat all of it. They don't want to give it to anybody. They don't understand, and other people are starving. Let's say they got some food and other people are starving and they got a whole bunch of food, but they want to eat their food. They're not thinking that they're being selfish or it's a good thing to go help these other people. They don't think, oh, it'd be good if I go and I give that child something. Now you got some kids who will do that, but they pretty much have learned it, right? Some kids learn it at an earlier age than others. It's not innate in them. I'm hungry. I want to eat. This is food. I figured out that I eat this, so I eat it. That person is over there. They're starving. They might be crying. I don't know why they're crying, but I just don't eat my food. They might be looking at my food, but it's my food. They don't understand sharing. They've seen somebody do something to share, and so they understand sharing. This is what this deity wanted us to stay like. Imagine how would human society ever have developed, or could it ever have developed if we had that mentality? You can't. What kind of relationship Adam and Eve had prior to consuming the fruit? If Adam was feeling a little freaky, for him just to run up and grab Eve and take it, what's the big deal? What's the big deal? For her to slap toss snot out of his ass, what's the big deal? If he was eating something okay, because y'all know this is a pet peeve of mine. If Adam and I went and picked him some fruit and everything, he got to sit and put it on his plate, right? A couple of leaves and everything, getting ready to eat it. Eve just walks up like, oh, and just starts eating it off his plate. When it's a whole goddamn tree right there that you can get your own fruit, but just start eating off a plate. She doesn't know that that's not cool. Because she's smooth brain right now. He's smooth brain. And then when he slapped her for picking off his plate, it's a big deal. See what I'm saying? Because y'all know I don't like people eating off my plate. We can't do that. No. Unless I'm broke as shit and this is all we got. But no, I'll get you y'all. So, but they don't know that. All right. Inky, or the serpent, is the hero to humanity in these stories. Because they were like, hey, y'all need to know, if y'all want to develop society-wise, you want to grow, you will never. What did the Yahweh character, the El character, the Satan say after they ate the fruit? Oh, hell, man has become like us, knowing good and evil. Now he, if he eats from the tree of life, he'll live forever. So we got to keep that away from him. Can't let him live forever. In these, oh, hell, man has learned to reproduce himself. He will come into his own consciousness of greatness, or consciousness of godhood, and so we have to kick him out and not allow him to know the Anunnaki magic or science. And so they had to kick him out of the enclosure. They had to say that, no, you have to stay primitive to our levels. I know y'all been talking. Let me see what y'all think. So Inky's the hero. The serpent is the hero. The war started in heaven on the planet Venus, and they usurped and killed the queen of heaven. However, she was able to be in the other people's planet, like Zelanthia, Venus, Earth, with her 9 sisters. I have never heard that one before. All right, can't act. Spend time watching children. They absolutely know right from wrong immediately from birth. I don't agree with that one, at least. And the thing about it, I intently watch my children because I was thinking about these things when Sydney was born. I was intensely watching her. Now, granted, she was born. I was able to do it better with my son because he was full term. The girls were premature, so they had that incubation time, that incubator time. But them jokers didn't know right from wrong from birth. And I watched Lincoln because as a kid, I would watch him as an infant. He was just doing infant shit, But month after month, I noticed he responded earlier in things like sharing, because from infancy, he saw his 2 sisters sharing. There were certain things that he picked up faster because he had his 2 sisters doing things like doing those things. He started walking because his sister Simone was walking. So he started walking before the girls started walking. So them little jokers, and I was watching that stuff intensely, and I was studying it. I was studying them jokers to understand. There is something that blooms at night around here that is driving me insane. Because it only bothers me at night, and then I have a hell with it in the morning. Anyway, that joker, the kids are watching from birth. I was at traffic court last week, and I'm watching this girl in front of me, and she got this little infant. Can't be no more than about a month, 2 months old. I'm just watching the little infant, and I'm just looking at him, and this little dude may not understand everything that was going on around him, but you can tell. But he was just absorbing. When he was uncomfortable, he cried. When he was hungry, he cried. Because that cry is the only response he has to pain, to discomfort. And then when he cries, here's this person who comforts him and feeds him. And he learns. You cannot say from birth all they did was wrong and impossible. They are doing things right, crying for attention, smiling when they are pleased, crying. Yeah, right. Everything they do from birth is not wrong. Now, according to this Bible, though, when you look at Genesis at the end of the Noah story, this God says that every thought from man is evil from birth. Like, go check that out. At the end of the Genesis story, I think it was that Genesis 5, chapter 5, is the Noah story. And he said that every thought from man is evil from birth. So according to this deity, I ain't saying that I agree with it, but according to this deity, it is. Your concept of right and wrong is flawed. Doing what is necessary to survive has little to do with morals and everything to do with necessity. Oh, shit, I forgot to make my cup of coffee. God dog it. Now, survival things, and see, that's another thing, Cora. Cora makes a good point. When it comes to things of survival, that's why I didn't say anything about survival things. When I was talking about children, I'm talking about you sharing. Sharing is a good thing, but children have to learn to share, right? But there's nothing wrong with them not sharing, but it's not something that they automatically do. They don't recognize, and that's what I'm saying, recognizing good and evil. Recognizing to be good is to recognize that there is an injustice being done. Let me correct it. There are people in need, and I can help. Let me go help. I'm not going to take away anybody else's rights or abilities to make themselves happy in the effort of making myself happy. So let me separate those two. Let me learn how to deny myself certain things so that I don't supersede into someone else's happiness and causes them grief. That's being good. It's just a few thought processes on being good. Being bad is not giving two shits about what's going on with other people, and just going out and doing what I want to do for myself. And it's all about myself. Right? So that's different. I am mad that I did not make my cup of coffee. I'm sitting there like something missing. Like this cigar is hitting, but it ain't hitting the way it's supposed to hit. Son of a biscuit either. And Folgers are Maxwell. How dare you? How dare you? Voice over. You can't even be Butterfly now. You got to be voiceovers. Folgers are Maxwell. This is some straight bullshit. Well, y'all are getting in on whether or not children are born good or bad. Ren's Robo. Coach Ren. So, okay, this ain't gonna work. Me not having coffee It's not gonna work. Y'all are about to take a journey with me. Oh. All right. Y'all can still hear me, right? No, it's doing the wrong camera. I don't want this camera. That camera sucks. Yeah, I fix it. No, what didn't work? Yeah, I know. But it's back on. But now the laptop camera is the only one that's working. Anyway, I'm on the phone talking to you while it's still back on. All right. I appreciate you. You're always helpful. Thank you. Bye. All right. The sucky camera is on. Oh, yeah, Robo, are you in your feeling? You in your feeling, Robo? Robo? You in your feelings? So you got to do some name calling? Yes, I do. I do think you're dumb. Yes, you're very stupid. You're matter of fact, let me be rude and say you're a fucking idiot. How about that? Because you came on here calling people cockroach instead of being respectful. So to hell with you and the horse you rode in on. Because I'm not that nice guy that'll sit up here and take your bullshit just because I'm supposed to be spiritual when you don't respectful. Because I'm done with being that kind of person. Yeah, because I do coach people, but I don't put up with stupidity and disrespect. So learn how to be respectful first if you want respect. Yeah, that's the funny thing to me. Oh, you're a coach. You're supposed to be respectful. Not to some motherfucker who don't know how to be respectful to me. They don't be respectful to you for. I wish I knew how to change this back to the other camera. See, here's the funny part. Because I'm not sitting up here being all oh, a cockroach, let me win your respect over. You know, now he's talking about some, you're supposed to be a coach. You're not being fair. I don't even know what you coach. How about you would have started like that, dude? You see what I'm saying? Let me give you something that I coach. I would coach you on how to be a true leader and how to utilize communication in order to be that leader. And one of those things about being a true leader in communication is that in order to gain respect from people, you first show respect. There's a process, there's a process to how you communicate with people to endear them to your side, or at least to respect you, even if y'all have a difference of opinion. Coming onto somebody's podcast and calling them a cockroach from the very beginning is not respectful. Dude, go back and look at what you wrote. Maybe you will be a cockroach. Early in your comments when you first came on. So, cockroach, what is your name? You think I'm dumb. okay, that's not fair. See, when you first came on, you said, hi, what is your name? I said, my name is Renz. So, cockroach, what is your name? You think I'm dumb. I did. I went back. I looked. You see, that's what you type. Now, I will give you the benefit of the doubt because I am that kind of person. Did you mistype and was trying to type Coach Renz as it says on the screen? Did you mistype and then you was trying to type Coach Renz, R-E-N-Z, as it says on the screen? You never mistype. So you meant to say, oh, I love this. Y'all know I can get into this bullshit. So you meant, ooh, I scrolled too far, to say, hi, what is your name? What is your name, partner? I told you Renz. So, cockroach, C-O-C-K-R-O-A-C-H. I don't have my glasses on. I can see read that. Yeah. I know what I did. All right. We're going to continue our conversation, but yeah, I got everything unplugged. Yeah. I'm going to make me some coffee. So y'all going to have to deal with the noise. But what are we talking about? Oh, and for Miss Folgers, ma'am, we don't do Folgers, okay? We don't do Folgers in this piece. Talk about some Folgers. Doing no Folgers. That is disrespectful. That's better on that. All right, I'm gonna move on from that. I'm not gonna let that take up my day. So where we at? What are we talking about? Excuse some of the noise you're gonna hear. But you hear them beans grinding, voiceover. You hear them beans grinding. So we know that in this Genesis story, the Satan, the serpent, cannot be the devil because the Satan is the administrator as well in the Garden of Eden. So he's not the devil. So when they took that and they put that together with the Satan from Job, because the Sumerian language is not a Semitic language. So this is why Satan doesn't go over the same way. But Satan in the Akkadian language, which is a Semitic language, still meant they translate that to mean the person who was having an adversarial conversation with Yahweh in the book of Job. So since Akkadian is a Semitic language, later more and more translations down the line, and you get to the prosecutor, the adversary being a negative person that punished Job and did all this stuff to Job. I need some cream. So that's why we got that part of the story. Now, so that moves us to Isaiah. And in Isaiah, what we got? I bind him, I bind him, I bind him. I am karma. Can't find people. They are homeless. Okay. Sorry, making a noise. I need a spoon. you grind the coffee, and I put the cream in here, right? And you take some Smucker's caramel. You take a dollop of that, and you put it in that cream, and then I'm gonna steam it. Ooh, y'all don't know what y'all missing. So I gotta let my caramel drip in there. That would be my preferred way to make coffee in the morning, but with my means, I just don't hit a cheaper Folgers. No, I'm a coffee snob. I'm a coffee snob. If y'all ever, I'm invited to your house, place of business, or anything like that, and you try to give me some coffee out of a pot, you gonna get talked about. I'm just telling you, I'm gonna talk about you. This part's gonna be a little loud, so excuse me. I gotta froth my coffee. So, excuse me for this part. There are ways of making it a little bit quieter. I'm trying to do that part. Every now and then it's gonna be loud. But when I'm frothing it with that caramel in it, yeah. I don't know if I told y'all before, but y'all know I'm bougie. We're gonna get back to it in just a second. This is how I'm getting down. This is how I'm getting it down. And then you gotta pour that on in there. Get that little foam in there. Now I ain't gonna sit up here and go ahead and clean it like I normally would. Yes. All me and all my bouginess. Oh yeah. I knew something about life wasn't right. Something about life. It just wasn't right. Okay. All is right in the world. All is right in the world, other than the fact that I can't get my camera, the right camera to work. The main camera that I use. All right. Oh. If I was Christian, I'd be saying, thank you, Jesus. Yes, so. Oh, wish I can get this camera to work right, but it's all right. We're going to go with what we got. The camera on the computer is the one that we're using. Y'all can still hear me, right? Melissa said, what? You are Christian. No, I'm not Christian. It's okay. Y'all need some of this. You need some of this in your life. I'm just telling you. You need some of that in your life. Usually I get to have my coffee expressions before we go live. If you cannot figure out something, even if it means getting you something from the coffee shop for you. As long as it's not Starbucks, we good. Starbucks burns their beans. They over roast the beans. So not Starbucks. So now, I forgot who said something. I think it might have been Norman who mentioned about Lucifer. Right? Now, Lucifer is only mentioned a couple times in the Bible. And this is going to hit with, I think Butterfly was saying this. Lucifer, where it says, is you have a prophet who's talking to a king, and the king is an arrogant dude. And in his arrogance, the prophet is saying that, basically trying to tell him he needs to humble himself. And he said, "Oh, how you will fall. Oh, Lucifer, how you will fall. Oh, Lucifer, how you will fall." He's not referring to the fall of the angels in heaven, according to the Enoch story. What he's talking about is that if you go outside right before sunrise, the brightest star in the east, which is not exactly a star, is the planet Venus. But it's looming in the east, right kind of like east, southeast, just a little bit. As the sun comes up, there's a optical illusion that happens where it looks like Venus is falling, and as the sun rises, and as the sun rises, Venus disappears because the sunlight becomes too bright for you to be able to see it. And then Venus moves along the moves southeasterly, but it always stays low in the sky. Venus is never high, it's always low in the sky. And then at night, you can see Venus again in the western part of the sky, very low, most of the time, most of the year. This is what you see. So, thank you for not disrespecting anyone with Starbucks. So, they were talking, when that guy was telling him, when that prophet was saying that to him, he was saying that two things. Well, one thing in that one, in Isaiah, I think it's Isaiah, he was saying that as the sun rises, the light comes up, Venus falls. He was telling this king, you will fall from your perch, you will fall from your position, right? And in that fall, just as Venus, the planet looks like it's falling. And then Venus is always low. The Lucifer in Venus ain't got nothing to do with Lucifer as with the Jesus character. And according to Martin Luther, they're not even talking about Jesus in Revelation. But most Christians accept that they're talking about Jesus in Revelation. But the morning star, the light bringer, which is what Lucifer means in Greek, the light bringer, it's not even, they're not talking about the same person, the same deity. It's a different, right? Because they're talking about, they're still talking about Venus, but they're talking about how Venus is positioned wherever the sun is going to rise. So it is the light bringer. It brings the light. It brings life because the sun is rising. And all these people who are sun worshipers, point blank period, they're all sun worshipers. No matter how you slice it, it comes back down to the deification of the sun, S-U-N. So each instance of Lucifer is discussing a astrological event. It is not talking about the serpent in the garden. It's not talking about the beast. It's not talking about the Satan. They're all completely separate. But this became a problem in early Christendom. And what became the Catholic Church decided we have to make all of them into one, because people were questioning, are there multiple different demonic devil beings? Who's the one devil? How is Jesus called the light bringer? And the light bringer is also referred to in Isaiah as a bad king. Oh. okay, he's just lying now. This guy better step up or I'm going to get upset. People think they have way more power than they give themselves. Now I missed some of you guys' comments, so let me go back and see what you guys are saying. I don't know if y'all look like y'all might be talking to somebody else. Like, wouldn't disrespect me with no Starbucks. When he's talking, what he's talking about is when he falls, is that he won't fall to earth, but the heavens. That ain't got nothing to do with it. It's really most scholars agree that they are talking about an astrological event. They're not talking about that. And I hate using that term, most scholars. It's just what it is. It's just what it's talking about. Most of the time, I don't even talk about other people. It's just what they're talking about. Like I explained, how you explain in layman's term, how the Catholic Church tries to explain the multiple falls into one. Yeah. I mean, this is one. So in my journey, and I know it's because of the way I think and because of how I am, I got to dive deep. I got to go through the whole process. So you just can't tell me that they're all the same. Well, how did they become the same? Because at one point they was all separated. But what was the process? And so I had to go back and research and study and research and find out how did they come to this point. And when all was said and done, it was the church asking, it was the people questioning the church and other people, other bishops and cardinals who were like, this ain't, the math ain't mathing. So they had to like figure it out. And ultimately, who's ever in charge, whoever carries the most weight, the most influence, whatever their decision is what determines what's right, what's wrong, what's going to be followed. This is why, like, if you go through and you start reading a lot of the papal bulls, then you start to see how this guy, like, they just started apologizing. They started apologizing for the treatment of Galileo. They didn't finish apologizing and fixing the whole Galileo issue until like 1997. So it took them all that time. Even once they realized that Galileo was right in the 1800s, when they realized that Galileo was right. In the 1700s, Galileo was right. In the late 1400s was the first time that they actually realized that Galileo was right. And it took all the way to 1997 for them to finish the process of affirming that Galileo was right. His charge of heresy was incorrect. The way the church treated him and his daughter was incorrect, and that the church was wrong. That's a long ass time. That's almost a little over 500 years of them arguing about the placement of the earth in our solar system, what the earth does in relation to the sun versus what they were saying, because they were saying that the sun revolves around the earth. Well, the earth was flat and the sun is outside our atmosphere, and the sun and the moon just goes in a circle around the earth, and so does everything else. And the earth is the center of the universe. But Galileo was saying, following up on Copernicus and saying that no, the earth revolves around the sun, and so do all the other planets, and the moon revolves around the earth. And they said heresy, because he was still Christian. Heresy, throw him in jail. Oh, you're in jail. We're going to take everything, all your property. Oh, that still ain't going to make you change your mind? Fine. We're going to threaten your daughter. Threaten his daughter? Okay, my bad, y'all. I was wrong. And then they started selling past the 6 mile mark of the ocean and didn't fall off. And they was like, dang, Galileo was right. Copernicus was right. They didn't burn him at the stake. That was Jacques de Molay they burnt at the stake. When the King of France and Pope, I forget what Pope, when they Friday the 13th in 1039, I think, when they massacred all the Knights Templars, and then 2 years later they burned Jacques de Molay, the last Grand Master, at the stake after he recanted from his forced confession. And it was simply because the King of France was in debt to the Knights Templar, and the Pope was the King of France was in debt to the Knights Templar, and he convinced the Pope, who was the Knights Templar's friend, to go against them, because then the King of France was going to get other kingdoms to go against the Pope if he didn't go against them, because a lot of countries owed them money because they were like one of the first major banking syndicates in Europe. So it was all about money. It was all about money. But he was burned at stake. Galileo, I think, just died old and impoverished. I mean, not Galileo. Yeah, Galileo. Now, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he just died old and impoverished. They didn't kill Copernicus because Copernicus was smart. He didn't publish none of his stuff after he died. But Galileo was like, I'm going to show y'all, and y'all going to steal. But Earth revolving around the sun doesn't jive with the Bible. So no. But that's not the conversation there. So now, I think we have sufficiently shown that there is no devil. As far as this one being that is one corporal being, there is no devil. And that Yahweh has been Anu, and Yahweh has been in Enlil, while Enlil was the Satan at the exact same time. So there is no Yahweh. And plus, Yahweh was developed as a Canaanite god. A Canaanite god. He was a Canaanite storm god, a desert god, a god of the wind, which is also what Enlil was, the god of the wind. So Yahweh was that. And then later embellished even more when the Shashu people came up and merged with the Hebrew people as well. And they carried a Yahweh version of this, a version of Yahweh as well. And they all merged them together. So this Yahweh is not God. Plus, as was said earlier, this God cannot be omniscient if he did not know that by creating this enclosure with Adam and Eve, that the serpent wouldn't come in there and mess up the whole plan. He could not have been omniscient if he knew that that by creating the angels, there was going to be a whole big war in heaven, which no matter, and if he had this war in heaven, it was going to mess up this so-called creation that he wanted to be perfect. Remember, at the end of each day, he said, it is good, it is good, it is good, it is good. 6 times he said, it is good. If he was omniscient, he would have known that all of us going to get messed up. If he was omniscient, even though he killed an animal for the sacrifice, he sacrificed an animal for the sin of Adam and Eve, he still had to have known that Cain was going to kill Abel, that Cain's descendants were going to, another one of Cain's descendants was going to kill somebody else, another person. And if you read the book of Jasher, Tubal-Cain kills Cain. He knew that he was going to wind up flooding the earth. He knew that he was going, and then he said that he regretted making man, and that every thought from man from birth was evil. That creating judges wasn't going to work. That Moses deal wasn't going to work. That the Israelites are going to consistently and continuously disobey, and that he was eventually going to have to do this Jesus thing. So why would you wait all those centuries to do the Jesus thing when you could have did the Jesus thing in the very beginning, right? But no, you had to wait. You had to build up the suspense. all the murdering, the raping, the killing, the genocide, all the stupid stonings, all the rules and regulations. He knew that none of those rules were gonna work. But he did it anyway. If he is omniscient, he's stupid. But if this deity lacks that knowledge, lacks that information, that ability, then he can't be the all. If you was with us in our teaching of the Kabbalion, the all can never not be itself. It cannot ever be less than itself. It cannot. Nothing can be added to it. Nothing can impose its ideas on it. Nothing. It has to always be God. So when Jesus was saying, "Why have you forsaken me?" Jesus can't be God because he's separated from him at that time frame. Jesus can't be God because you cannot separate any aspect of God, because at any moment that aspect of God is separated from the whole, it would know that it is God. So Jesus would have known from when he was in the womb, when he was born, through all his years of life, he would have known that he was God. At no point would he have not said that he was not God, that he would not have known that he was God. He obviously said that he wasn't. When he said that me and the Father are one, and a few verses later, he said that just like you and me, you us disciples, we're one. So they're all eternal. They're all part of the Trinity. But of course, we know that's not what he meant. It would be like me and Valentino. If we agree upon something, we are one. He's talking about flat earth. We're not one. Because there ain't no way you'll ever convince me of flat earth. I've seen too many things. It doesn't matter. The math ain't mathing on flat earth, bro. But we ain't talking about flat earth today. So don't you start that, Valentino. So we know that Yahweh is not real. Yahweh is a creation. They basically, the storms and wind, they knew that the Kemetic people, the Sumerian people had Enlil, which was a storm wind god. They knew that the Kemetic people, what was the other great civilization they were surrounded by, had a wind god, Shu. So they made Yahweh. They adopted Yahweh from the Canaanites, because the Hebrew people were living up in the hill country. The Bronze Age collapse happened. The Canaanite people moved away from the shores into the hill country. They all merged together. The Shashu people came up as well from the Bronze Age collapse, from lower Mesopotamia. They merged together. They had their understanding of the storm deity, the wind, Yahweh, and he had a wife named Asherah. The all cannot have a wife. It must be all encompassing. The all cannot have a husband. It must be all encompassing. No wife, no husband, no counterpart that is equal to it outside of it. No, it has to be all containing. Like somebody on this other post, I might do a video about it, I'm not sure. We're talking about, you call yourself God and everything. Can you hold up the weight of the universe? Can you create this? When you sleep, every night you go to sleep, you create a full universe in your mind. But your full universe in your mind is inside of this reality of the mind of the all. If we say that there is a creative mind, we agree that there is a creative mind and intelligent designer for this entire universe, then it is inside the mind of this all. It is the thought. In the same way that we dream and we create entire universes in our minds when we dream. Or even if you sit here right now, you can sit here like right now, as I'm talking to y'all, I am at the exact same time imagining an entire universe that's going on in my head. And I can be as far away from it or as detailed to actual beings that are walking around on some streets and they are weird looking in my head right now. Those beings are existing in my mind as a thought, and thought has frequency and energy to it. And those frequencies and energy do materialize at whatever level in my mind. They're material. They're material in my mind. So we are material in the mind of the all, in the same way that you can create a material world inside your mind. But your creation is inside your mind. It's not outside the world that you live in. You can't create nothing outside the world you live in. You can't create anything outside. Let me rephrase that. Outside the universal mind that you are dwelling in right now. If you could, then you would be the all, but you can't. The creation can never be greater than the creator. As much as I can think of this world in my mind, I can destroy it all at the same time. It can never say, nope, I don't want to be destroyed, and pop out my head and then start existing beside me. So you can never pop outside of the mind of the all and exist beside it. I decided to never get married on paper. I can understand that. That won't work for me though, but I can understand that. Now, but this Yahweh has a wife. Then he gets rid of the wife. Hezekiah gets rid of the wife, and it makes the wife into a pole, a wood stick. Then Jesus is supposed to also be a part of it. Then the Holy Spirit is supposed to be a part of it. Think about it like this with the Holy Spirit. If the Holy Spirit is part of the Trinity, and on the day of Pentecost, the people gain the Holy Spirit, then while that Holy Spirit is dwelling inside of them, then during that time frame, that person would know everything that they all knows, would know everything that God knows, would have the power of God, would be one with God, would have all the knowledge of God. Because the Holy Spirit can never not know it is God if it is part of God. If it's part of this Trinity, this threesome that they have, then anytime the Holy Spirit enters into a person, they are all knowing. All knowing. I've always held that one in the bag, but I'm going to use that one in a debate one day. I've never used that one in a debate, but I'm going to use that one in a debate one day. Because God being God, the Holy Spirit being part of God, a piece of God, if you're imbued with that Holy Spirit, how are you not in the knowing of being God? You should know that you're God. You are God at that moment. But show me one person who got the Holy Spirit and they can change the molecules of air in their hand and make it into a peach. Because if you're God, you should be able to do that, right? You should be able to take this torch, reform the matter of this torch, and use those molecules and change it around and turn this into H2O. Turn this into water. I'm just saying, you should be able to Scarlet Witch this thing. Reform reality. Change the reality of everything around you and the perspective of reality of everybody else around you. But evidently, no one filled with this Holy Spirit has ever been able to do that. So this Holy Spirit cannot be God. And it ain't a Holy Spirit. It's you. It's your emotions. It's this false feeling of connection that Christians have to their God. So it's all just their emotions. You watch this movie. Y'all know, man, you know how I am about movies. Don't be telling me about movies because they don't have to watch it. And write it down. Shit. Nowhere on Netflix. Gotcha. But so Yahweh can't be God because Yahweh is not omnipresent. Because shit be going down and not Yahweh don't know what's happening. Yahweh be making mistakes. So he's not God. So if Yahweh is not God, Satan, serpent, Lucifer, not Satan, is not the devil, then that would mean Yahweh is not the creator. If he's not the creator, then there was no war in heaven. Then that would mean that there's no lake of fire. So there's no hell. Without God and without this Yahweh and the devil, the biblical heaven and hell cannot exist. That was the original one, Brian. In most other civilizations, it was the Father, Mother, and the Son. Like for the Sumerians, it's Anu, Ki, and Enlil. That's the Trinity. And then you have later Trinities after that, even within the Anunnaki, depending upon what city you're in. You had Asar, Aset, and Heru for the Kemetic. That was a Trinity. Because before that, you didn't have a Trinity with Ra, because Ra didn't. I don't think Ra had. Ra didn't. It never. I don't think they mentioned Ra's wife, or at least I can't think of ever mentioning of Ra's wife. But he had kids. He had Jeb, Newt, and then he had Shu, and all the other ones. But yes, you had Odin, Frigga, and Thor. That was the Norse Trinity. So you always had the Father, Mother, and the Son. But then the Christians of that era, with they don't respect women. So you had to get rid of the woman. Yahweh's the team lead without the title, acting like a manager. I'm with you on that one. Acting like an arrogant manager. He reminds me one of my favorite movies during Christmas time is Elf. And the black guy who's the manager in Gimbals. That's Yahweh. They're coming for a job. And if that means I go, everybody goes. I love Elf. That movie funny as hell. Do you believe that we are little gods? I read that in Psalms 82:6. As I have said, ye are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High. Yep. In the sense of how we talk about gods and goddesses, yes. I would say that we are all gods and goddesses. And I say that we have gods and goddesses inside of us. We have both the masculine and the feminine inside of us. Just because you're corporally right now, who said that? Aunt Debbie. Female as far as the world is concerned, as far as this matter plane is concerned. Energetically, we are all androgynous. We're all hermaphrodites. Let me put it that way, not androgynous, hermaphrodites. We're all hermaphrodites. Both masculine and feminine energy. Finding the balance between our masculine and feminine is one of the primary things we have to do in order to elevate our consciousness. But we create in the same way this world exists, that this universe exists. We can create, like I was saying earlier, in our mind, an entire universe. Shit that we ain't never seen before, we can create. We can manifest in our mind. It lives and breathes and dies in our mind. So our minds are so powerful in that ability to create that when we cease to live in this poverty suit, this meat suit, our consciousness continues on. As scientists try to figure out consciousness, because we still don't know scientifically everything about it, they do recognize that even after when our body ceases to exist, there's this little weight loss that happens. And not the weight loss from your body excreting its toxic fluids, piss and shit. But there's another weight loss that they cannot explain. Some think that this is the consciousness leaving the body. But we don't yet have the tools or the method of measuring consciousness. So it's still theory. It's theory, but there's more theory, there's more evidence leaning towards consciousness than away from consciousness. Shit, the Egyptians thought that your consciousness was in your heart. This is why they pulled the brain out the nose and will throw that away. They don't current that runs through our body, but no one knows how it's produced, like where it comes from and what produced it, and it goes everywhere. Explains why so many good people die before others. Death is not bad. No, death ain't bad. There's two things. There's only two things. No, three. There's only three things that make death bad. Three. It might be four, and I mean I'm from Georgia, so four. It might be four, but there's three things that make death bad. The first thing, some people take this as fear. They walk into this as fear. Grand Rising Marita. Some people take this in fear. I don't. I take it in curiosity. We don't know what the hell's going to happen next. Nobody really, really knows. I'm excitedly curious to find out what happens next. Most people are in fear of finding out what happens next. The second reason is loss. You miss people. I miss my grandmother. She passed before my children were born. I would have loved for my children to have grown up with that lady in their life. So you miss people. I miss my Uncle Denon. You miss people. I miss my grandfather. My son want to learn how to fish. I would have pawned him off onto my grandfather like a champ because I don't like fishing. You know what I'm saying? You miss people. That's two. The third is regret. Regret. People don't want to die as soon because of not fixing an issue or the regret of not living life to its fullest, not doing certain things. I mean, fixing the issue falls in the same thing. So not doing certain things, whether it's fixing an issue, climbing a mountain, traveling around the world, having certain relationships. All right. If I were to die now today, I would have the regret of not going back to Egypt, not going to Machu Picchu, the Nazca Lines, Easter Island. There's a lot of travel and sites that I haven't seen. I would regret. I would be like, damn. Like I'm hovering above my body, like, damn. I didn't get to go see that stuff. I've mended pretty much every relationship that I feel is worth mending, or I've attempted to. So, because some people were like, to hell with you and the horse you rode in on. So I was like, all right, well, done my part. But yeah. And even though my kids are pretty good to go right now, it'd be too early. They still need some fatherly parenting for at least a good 10, 15 years. But that's it. That's the only bad things about that. That's why you need to live till I'm about good 150. All right, are we back? I don't know what the hell happened. It's the devil. Your spirit can travel the world. Oh, hell no. I want to travel the world as me right now. Mm-mm. I want to travel it as me right now, shooting videos, talking to y'all about going to Turkey. I forgot the name of the site in Turkey. There's a couple of sites in Turkey that I want to go to. No, I want to travel as me. Oh, Debbie, you trying to be funny. Talking about death and you disappeared. Debbie got jokes, y'all. No, but I'm with you, Valentino. I think the dream realm has a lot to do with what happens after death. I think the closest that we really get to it on a daily basis, well, for me on a daily basis, because I dream every night, is through our dream world. Now, this is why I work on dreams and being as conscious as I possibly can and aware of dreams as much as I possibly can, because I think that's the closest we get, other than when T is saying near-death experiences. Because at that near-death experience, one of the things we do know scientifically is that a huge amount of DMT is washed and dropped in your brain at that moment of when you are going through this near-death experience. But it ain't death, it's near-death. And our minds have been conditioned to believe certain things are going to happen at that time frame. So that's what I root out. I root out the conditioning, because this world is not going to decide what happens to me after I leave. This world is not going to decide where my consciousness lies after I leave. The only thing that's going to decide that is me. Me, and nobody but me. And I'm with you, okay. The body rests. The soul continues on in death, and is just the start of a new adventure. Is a basis when I with my damn glasses. I get it from everyone that I read from around the world what I thought was true. Yeah, I think it's kind of like marriage. The wedding day is just the beginning of the marriage. It ain't the end. You're just getting started. Death is just getting started. You got a bad connection? I know my connection just blanked out for a second. Do Catholics worship pagan gods in their saints and mothers and gods that they pray to coincide with the ancient Roman deities? Use the goddess of wisdom and the Saint Sophia, Hermes, and the Saint Christopher. You are right on it. Catholicism is, Catholic means universal. So it's a universal church. So they brought in all the religions together. If you was looking for a one world religion, Catholicism was the closest thing to a one world religion, which then has birthed out Christianity. So Christianity is really sort of a one world religion. It's just the Protestant Reformation, the different breakdowns after the Protestant Reformation, denominations started going harder and more hardcore into, we the only ones that's right. And they even saying that within their own denominations. But the Catholic Church, with its worship of idols, the saints and all that, yeah, they changed their own commandments. They got their own 10 commandments. They're different. They took one commandment, split it into two, and they got rid of the other one. The one that says have no idols, they got rid of that one. So yeah. Marcus said, Coach, when did you first start smoking cigars? Why do you like cigars? You know what? I'm going to talk about that on my cigar channel. I first started smoking cigars when I was 23 years old. This Marine Corps general made me go play golf with him because I was driving him, and I went and played golf with him, and I pulled out my pipe. See, I was smoking a pipe at that time frame. I started smoking the pipe because my pappy smoked the pipe, and I recognized in the military that when they need a work party, and the people who were smoking cigarettes and pipes, they never bothered them. So I started smoking the pipe first to get out of work details. But I always loved the smell of my pappy's pipe. So I was smoking the pipe. I had planned on smoking the pipe anyway, right? But I pulled out my pipe, and that general was like, "Hey, look here. Put that damn pipe." He actually said, "Put that motherfucking pipe down." Smoking a goddamn pipe on the golf course. And he gave me a Cuban cigar, and I smoked that cigar, and it made me feel woozy, but I was hitting that golf ball straight like a champ because that was my first time playing golf as well. And from then on, I discovered Toscanos because those were the only cigars I could afford back then. Started smoking Toscano cigars, and then later on, just started smoking more and more cigars. So I've been smoking cigars since I was 23. It's a flavor palette. It's also a chill thing. It's a lifestyle thing. You don't inhale a cigar, so you never worry about cancer or anything like that. But yeah. But once you understand the palate of cigars, like if you don't blow it out your nose, you might see me do that quite often, is because that's where you really taste it. When you eat food, most of the taste of the food is not on your tongue. It's in your nose, 80% in your nose. So I blow it out my nose, but you taste the cigar. But it's a lifestyle choice, man. It's a lifestyle thing. It's kind of like if you can. I've met some dudes who were racist as hell, but then as soon as they find out I was in the military, oh, we brothers. Cigars are the same way. You cannot like somebody. Y'all start talking about cigars, all of a sudden y'all brothers. Me and my brothers riding on motorcycle cross country. We saw rebel flag jokers, but as soon as they see us on bikes, we brothers. It is a unifying thing as well. So, and I do like that part of the culture. But back to the subject at hand. I've had 2 near-death experiences in my life, and I can honestly say I wasn't afraid. Now I know I have a lot to do here before I depart. But as you say, many fear death because of the unknown. And yeah, I think most people are fearing it because of the unknown. Even you got these little people, they be Christians, and they fearing it. Now, especially when they're younger, right? And you give me a 40-year-old Christian who's about to die, and they are terrified. And you give me a 90, 100-year-old Christian, they about to die, they like, whew, I'm ready. They are not as terrified because they're old, they've lived life. You know, they've done a lot, they've seen a lot, and their bodies usually are tired and ready to go, you know. And you're right, Cammy. They restructure the monotheistic religion to fit their individual ideas. Even in the fact, when you look at it, their religion is not monotheistic. They literally are believing in 3 different deities. Jesus is a deity that they believe in. The Holy Spirit is a deity they believe in. And Yahweh, El, Jehovah, whatever the name they want to give it, is a whole nother deity. And if you really break it down, Jehovah and Yahweh are different deities. Jehovah, Yahweh, and El are really different deities. Doesn't smoking cigarettes or cigars have negative side effects? You're saying smoking out of your nose limits what you inhale. No, smoking out of your nose lets you actually taste the cigar, the different leaves and where they're from. Smoking causes cancer. Smoking cigarettes causes cancer because of the 400 plus chemicals that they put inside cigarettes and the fact that you breathe the cigarette smoke into your lungs. Cigars are all natural, unless you get one of the flavored ones. But cigars are all natural, no chemicals whatsoever. If you add chemicals to a cigar, it's no longer a cigar and can't be sold as a cigar. And you don't inhale cigars, so no lung cancer. They only claim to be monotheistic, and you're absolutely right. It's just a claim. But when you read their book, they're not. At the at least you would have to accept that the Bible is henotheistic, meaning that they believe in their God, but they believe that there is the existence of other gods, but these other gods to them are not as powerful as their God when it's in respect to them. Now, there's another way of saying that they are polytheistic because they have the angels, right? These angels are still spiritual beings that are given worship or at least respect and honor, because every time an angel shows up, these jokers are bowing down to the angels. Christians are like Sunni Muslims, and the Jew faith is like Shiites. I can rock with you on that one, because if I remember correctly, one of the major difference between the Sunnis and the Shiites is the different lines of the caliphate that they follow, and like and that goes down to the different bloodlines from Muhammad's kids, I think, something like that. I'm not as up to par with my Muslim as I am with the Christian, because I only studied Islam for like a year back in 91. And I was like, nah, I'm good. If the root of the tree is spoiled, then all the fruit of the tree is spoiled as well. It can taste good and have some nourishing effect, but at some point, it's poison to the body, poison to the mind. At some point, it loses its flavor, its luster. It's like this cigar. It started out, out here, and then I burned all the way down to get to this part. And if you keep on going, you'll burn your lips, burn your tongue, and you'll have a mouthful of ash. So you get to the root of it, nah, it's not good. But yeah. So I know we don't have any Christians on here, so there's no point in seeing if any Christians, they're gonna still believe in their Jesus, their Holy Spirit, their Yahweh God, their heaven, their hell. But I hope that what we've talked about today solidifies even more. Giving you guys even more information to solidify the fact that this Christian idea, this Christian, Jewish, or even the Muslim idea of heaven, hell, God and the devil, they don't exist. Grand Rising Raquel. Nope. Anytime you jump in, you can say hey to the peoples. If Christianity truly believes in Jesus and the streets of gold, heaven, they would all be lining up to die. They used to do that. Their fear proves that they are subconsciously questioning their faith. Their fear does do that. And they used to do that. There was one paper bull that came out and had to tell people that euthanizing yourself would send you to hell, and it was a sin that you couldn't repent from, so you were guaranteed hell. That's how they phrased it. If you euthanize yourself, because you don't have an opportunity to repent for that sin, you automatically go into hell. Because a bunch of Christians in the Dark Ages, Middle Ages were committing suicide, and the church had to put a stop to it, because people were like, you know what? I've been poor all my life. This life is just horrible. We ain't got no indoor plumbing. We don't take baths. Life is too horrible. I'm getting out of here. I just want to go on to heaven. My mama died. My daddy died. I can't find a wife. Can't find a husband. Ain't got no kids. I'm poor. What the hell am I sitting around here for when heaven is so great? Let me go to heaven now. You say, well, that's good. No wonder our elders or great grandparents live longer ages, to like 100, even though they smoked cigars. The tobacco that they were given for cigars was all natural. And okay, yeah, even cigars today are still all natural. There's a the legend in cigars, Mr. Williams. He smokes 12 plus cigars a day, drinks whiskey every day, eats butter pecan ice cream every day. Um, he lived to be at one point he was the oldest World War II vet. He lived to be 114 years old. There's a documentary on him when he was like 112 or something like that, like 108, about 110, 112, and has the greatest philosophy on life. Now he's Christian, but he says he only does what makes him happy, and he doesn't do things in excess at all, other than smoking the damn cigars. But he don't do anything in excess. He's like, I got one TV. My TV still work. What I need another one for? I got my truck. My truck still work. It drive right. It drive just the way I like it. What I need to buy a new car for? I like my house. It fits. It does everything I need. What I need to buy a new house for? That was his philosophy of life. Was like, if he buys everything in cash, so he ain't got credit. He's like, hey, what do I need all these extra things for in life just to keep up with other people, just to have new shit? And he does. If people around him don't make him happy, he don't be around those people. If a place doesn't make him happy to be, he don't go to them places. He just does live a happy life. And that's been his philosophy of life. And this joker smoked 12 cigars a day, 12 plus, and drink his whiskey. And it's funny, he talked about how doctors had told him, you need to stop smoking. All those doctors died before he did. Love that man. He's the OG, he's the true OG in cigars. Why do you feel reborn after a near-death experience? I never had one. But I would imagine most people who feel reborn after a near-death are feeling that way because they almost died and they're still holding on to this life. And it's like, well, it's one other reason. If it was fear involved, well, you almost died and you were fearful and now you are trying to make this life better. If there's no fear involved, but you almost died, but it's like, damn, there's some things I wanted to make sure I accomplished certain things before I died. So let me get to it now, because now I've had an experience that shows how fleeting this life can be. And that's an aspect of my life. I'm like, oh, you know what? This existence is too short. So let me squeeze as much out of it as I possibly can. I think that's why religion was created, or rules to living were established. People were getting e-tickets and giving them to. Yeah, they had to create these different rules for these people. I heard the original use of tobacco was for indigenous people like the pre-Columbians, was for medicine, healing purposes, and ceremonial purposes. It all of that plus and for just smoking, because cigars do give you a CBD kind of feel, a calming feel without the hallucinogen of THC. So it was also for that. But yes, if you look at the indigenous people, they use cigars and cigar smoke for social rituals as well as for healing, especially for healing cuts and wounds and things like that. The Tiano people used it. That's where how we got over to Europe. But in Ifa, cigars are used. Most of the deities in Ifa like cigars. Sounds like you for it, Mr. Williams. Yep. I heard the original use. Oh, that's what I just read. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, all those things. Like, y'all know I like shrooms. No hidden secret. I'm not telling y'all to go do them. But this guy, I ain't gonna say his name because we're talking about shrooms, even though he doesn't mind. We was talking the other week about how, for him, in his experience, when he takes shrooms, food and fruit, especially fruit, tastes way better. and different, like how it's supposed to taste, because everything is turned on. Like his smell and taste buds are turned on to where they're supposed to be. So I was like, you know what? I never thought about that. I'm gonna have to try that again. I usually don't eat anything when I'm doing that, but next time I will. Marcus, your thing keep posting the same statement. I don't know if you noticed that. But yeah. But abused, it can be harmful. Done for specific reasons. Like I do shrooms when I want to open my mind more. It just continues. It's for opening my mind practices. It's not just so I can, people get high. I don't need that. No, you're fine. I don't need that. I just, I'll study something. Like let's say if I was going to do some shrooms this weekend, I'll study something to prepare myself and meditate and like not eat meat, drink a bunch of water so that my mind is ready to open up for something. I microdosed before I started reading the book so that my mind would be open for that book, to learn and absorb it better. Last time, I don't know, was that the last time I was in North Carolina or the time before that? I think it was the last time I was in North Carolina. I knew I was going to the beach. So, wanted some shrooms while on the beach, because I know for me, one of those things that shroom does is I can feel nature like nobody's business, right? So I wanted to be on the beach and have that and see what that feeling of the energy of nature is like when I'm on the beach. And oh my damn, the amount of power, of energetic power that I felt. I'm not telling y'all to go do this, because I have enough consciousness when I'm doing shrooms. I'm not going to run out into the water or do anything like that. But it was almost overwhelming feeling the energy of the ocean crashing onto the beach. I mean, there were times where the energy was so intense that I was just like, this like, it was like too much. But it was great. It was a wonderful experience. Do you think that the elites of elites know what this realm truly is and what the afterlife holds? The elites of the elites are not the ones that you will point at and say, that's the Illuminati, that's the Bilderberg Group, that's the Bohemian Grove. They ain't the elites of the elites, right? The elites of the elites are non-assuming. It'd be your mailman, right? It will be the monk that's in a monastery on top of some damn mountain in Nepal. It's not those people. It's kind of like in the Hermetic law when it talks about how the true masters are unassuming and don't display their power nor utilize their power in public view, because then those lower echelon people who don't truly understand it will abuse it, because you realize how much power that is and how much knowledge that is. So they're not going to be the ones you would normally just point at. Yes, I do mail cigars. Weed is like cigars; you can never get enough. I hate the smell of weed. That is my biggest thing with weed. I can't stand the smell. I amoroso too much weed. What's amoroso? Y'all know I'm reading this from the bottom up, or I should be reading from the top down. Oh, I was a vegan for a number of years. I love being a vegan is great. If Angelina didn't cook as well as she does, I would be vegan again. I would pretty much be vegan, about 99% vegan. But if she gonna make something, and she gonna make, now she does a very good job of no, the majority of the week making me non-vegan meals, but when she does make something with some meat, I'm gonna eat it because that woman can throw down. But when I was vegan, what's that weight right now? I was 30 pounds lighter. I had more energy, more clarity. Uh, the all the damage that my body has taken from playing sports and military, its effect was greatly diminished. Like I'm having this season, I'm having sinus issues. I never had sinus issues when I was vegan. But if Angie cook it, I'm gonna eat it because she can throw down. She throws down like a champ. I keep telling her she'll beat the shit out of them people on them cooking shows that she always watching. What did I say? Whoever they are, do you believe they know? Like Queen and Royal Bloodline, so they know something. They know something, but they're not masters. They're not masters. They understand hermetic laws of cause and effect, things like that, but they abuse the power of it. But they're not masters. No. Masters understand how energy and frequency work down to the atomic level and can, this is the theory, can manipulate that energy. I don't know how well they can manipulate that energy. And I saw this one guy, he didn't want to be recorded, but he set some paper on fire with just his hands, with energy. We had a near-death experience in February. So I was fully coded and incubated. I woke up after 4 hours. I didn't feel reborn at all. I felt, fuck this place. Getting upset at petty shit or even people not believe me or what I see. I know what's coming is far more awesome than wasting time arguing with people or getting pissed. Shit didn't turn out right. I'm actually a lot more down to earth than ever. Okay. So having that gave you even a calming effect. Cool. But now I've heard that when some people have that near death and they're like, they're pissed off that they came back here. It's like, I don't want to be here because this is some bullshit. I was vegan and diagnosed with nickel allergy. I was having an anaphylactic shock after a salad. Nickel is in the dirt. Green plants, fruits are high in nickel, especially rice. I had to go to carnivore or I would die. Oh, damn. You're like an Atkins diet. I don't know. Atkins diet, that's old. You may not be old enough to remember when Atkins diet was a thing. Well, I wouldn't say that meat is dead energy. It's not as alive as fruits and vegetables. But there's no such thing as something not having energy at all. All things have energy, different degrees, different frequencies, but all things have energy. It wouldn't exist if it didn't have energy. And I understand what T-Saw is saying, that, knowing to have a near-death experience, that kind of, or just having that, or just coming to that level of consciousness, knowing that having concrete knowledge within yourself that this ain't the end, and having an idea of what's next, that's some comforting ass shit there. Which is all on meditation. Love to do it. Do you practice it? Yep. If someone who was to first start meditating, what kind of thought process would they go about when beginning to meditate? Focus on breathing first. Don't try to focus on clearing your mind. it's an impossibility to clear your mind. I have this argument with somebody every now and then. You cannot ever, there is always a thought going through your mind. Your senses are always turned on. You smell things, you hear things. If your eyes are closed, you ain't seeing nothing, but you're seeing the back of your eyelids. But your mind is constantly thinking. You cannot turn thinking off. But in the midst of your mind still being active, to quiet the mind and organize the mind, organize the thoughts. The thought comes in, let it flow, let it go right on out the door. Let it live for whatever it's living for, and then keep moving. But just focus on your breath, breathing in, breathing out, and just settling down, calm. That's how, like when I was teaching my children, that's how I started them with meditating. Just focus on the breathing in and breathing out, and just let everything rest and relax. Let the tension come off your shoulders. Let your body go however it goes. And whatever thoughts come through your mind, they come through, they live, they die, they go on. Them two big ass M's that I see right now in my mind, I have no idea what they're there for. But they're there. And they just over there in the upper right corners of my mind for some reason. And you can try to focus on certain things, like there's a whole bunch of red, and I'm pretty sure the red is because of the lights that are in front of me. But in between the reds, there's dark spaces. And sometimes I would start focusing on going into those dark spaces. Doesn't matter that I hear the bird that's outside the window. I hear it. I just don't have to give it my attention. But I hear the bird, but I'm all the while going deeper into the dark spaces, and the dark spaces get bigger and they're starting to form shapes. Just relax and just focus on the breath. Would you say the Vatican is still the richest, most powerful institution on earth? Probably so. And not so much because of its wealth, but because of its influence. Whatever has the most influence is the most powerful thing on earth. And wealth doesn't always play, you don't have to be the wealthiest. Well, if you want to start meditating, begin soon. Don't begin soon. Shit, start today. What you waiting on soon for? What does soon got to do with anything? Start today. The level of pain before death could be related to your karma, maybe. Yeah, I don't believe in karma. Karma doesn't work for me. I ain't got no karma. There's just cause and effect. That's it. Nothing more. Cause and effect. The only thing is I try to be the causation factor for the results that I get in my life, for the things that affect me. Now, there are other people who are causational things. They have causations, and those causations may affect me. Then I can enact other causations to increase or decrease their effect. Like I just gave an example of. Angelina cooking is so damn good that causation has put 30 pounds on her brother over the last 13, 14 months. And although I have the will to not eat it, I just give in to it because it's that damn good. Now, I did have to request for her to stop cooking, because at first it was every day. Every day the meats were coming, and I was not denying it, especially when I was in the lounge and I didn't have any freedom of movement. But every day. And out of appreciation as well, because I appreciate what she was doing, I'm going to eat it. But every day. Every day. But I had to say, baby, look. You see this? This is your fault. But, getting better. Getting into the flow of it. But karma, like I said, a stray bullet goes through a window and kills a child. What karma did that lady have? Now, a Hindu or a Buddhist person would say that, well, they had a karmic debt from a previous life. But when do you get the first karmic debt? You see what I'm saying? Where did the first karmic debt? Unless you go with, I think somebody on here one time said that the earth is a penal colony. And so there was a previous karmic debt in a different dimensional plane that we're all here paying penance for. But other than something like that, where's the first karmic debt? I'd like to hear your opinion on Our Lady Fatima and the miracle of the sun witnessed by 7,000 people. It was told by the children, and it happened. Many screamed for their lives. That's pretty supernatural, historical facts. Our Lady Fatima. Why is that familiar to me? Why is that familiar to me? And the miracle of the sun. What was the miracle of the sun? That is familiar to me. Fatima or Fatima. Our Lady Fatima. The title of Mary, Mother of Jesus. 1917, three shepherds. October 3rd, 1930, 1917. Children describe her as a lady more brave than the sun. So this happened in 1917, and nobody took a picture. So these people are claiming that they saw this lady and she was shining bright, brilliant, like the sun. Well, I see that people are claiming that they seen this lady and she shone more bright than the sun. They're saying that she would have been, that they thought that she was the Virgin Mary. It sounds like some Catholic made up stuff. Miracle of the sun. So it's correct, rather than having the king. sun appeared with the oblique spinning disc in the sky. So it looks like they saw some astronomical event that somebody predicted was going to happen. The sun was then reported to have careened towards the Earth before zigzagging back in its normal position. Witness reported that previous moon became suddenly completely dark. So not all the witnesses reported seeing the sun dance, but some of them did. Some people say they saw the red in colors, including the one picture that was taken was the event does not show anything unusual. So they took a picture of it, but it didn't show anything unusual. So sounds like to me that they were told that they were going to see a certain cycle, a certain event, and the people who truly believed that they were going to see that event, their eyes made them see it, their minds made them see it. To me, this just the Lady of Fatima, from this basic observation of it, just seems like a conditioned psychological event that people manifested in their own mind. Because some people saw it and some people didn't, and they saw it in various degrees, your level of belief in something can determine what you actually see. I think if a person believes that they live in a house that's haunted, that they're going to see apparitions in their house. Whereas another person who doesn't believe that house is haunted, they ain't going to see shit. Sounds like these people were gathered together based on these prophecies to see the sun, and it was going to dance and do all these different things. Some people saw it dance, some people didn't see it dance. The mind is a powerful ass thing. That would sound like that. On a surface level run through. Of course, it would take a lot more reading. I'll have to look at that. Goddamn right, Raquel, she loves her man. And let me say it before she said her name is spelled Angelena. She cannot stand when people spell her name wrong. It doesn't matter. We're all going to die. What's your end game? I will manifest whatever life after this one I desire. That's my end game. People telling you it's your karma. Karma, I don't agree with karma. I heard some people that go so deep into meditation that they actually transition or die through the process. I've never heard of anybody dying, but I know people who I've went into meditation so deep that I cease to feel my body and the presence of the room that I'm in, and like a level of freedom. No, there's no reason children should suffer, but it can't be because of karma. It just happens. It just happens. Some people suffer because they just suffer. You get shot in the right spot, you'll suffer. Yeah, I don't deal with the petty shit. I move on. What does it do? I gave this clown a chance. Here's the thing, Time Bomb, if you're still here, I'm not looking for you to give me a chance. I'm not looking to keep you. If what I talk about is not for you, then sure, move on. I'm not here to convince you of nothing. Let me not say that. I'm here to convince you to look deeper inside your own self. If you choose to ignore what I say, that's your prerogative. Just like I choose to ignore what a whole bunch of people say. I don't go onto Christian or Muslim or anybody else's podcast and say, "Oh, let me go in here and see what they're talking about." Or you ain't talking about shit. Okay. People, it's a weird thing. People seem to think that other people have to validate themselves to them. Like it's a choice, right? It's a choice. If somebody's information is not what I liked or is valid to me, I don't feel that person has to then validate themselves to me. Okay, it's invalid. It doesn't match up. It doesn't make sense. But that's what they want to believe. That's what they want to talk about. Fine. Now I talk about facts 90% of the time. But it always amazed me. I always find that interesting when people think that you owe them something. I don't owe you anything. You owe nobody anything. Let's put it like that. Nobody owes anybody anything for the most part. The only thing that you owe, this is the only thing that you owe. If you decide or you bring a child into this life, you owe that child's survival, that child's upbringing. You owe that because you decided to bring somebody into this life, right? Once they go off and start living their own lives, you don't owe anybody anything at that point. Appreciate you. Sorry, my mailman just dropped a package at the steps. But you don't owe anybody anything at that point, right? Me and Angelina are together in agreement for what we desire to have more of in our life. But she don't owe me shit. And I don't owe her anything. But what I owe to myself is that if I want her in my life and the way that she treats me, I want to continue to get that, then I owe it to myself to give to her of myself what makes her want to be with me. So I'm still owing it only to myself, not really to her, and vice versa. So in life, you only owe it everything to you. That's it. You ain't got to be nothing else to nobody else. All y'all who are on here, Elise, Marcus, Norman, Brian, Raquel, T, those are the names I can see right now. Y'all don't owe each other anything. And if it wasn't for this podcast, you probably never would have come in contact with each other. All right? But you did. We're having a conversation. Only because this is my podcast. The only thing I require is that you owe respect to one another. That's it. That's it. Anyway, let me get off that. Death is spontaneous and continuous. Yeah, death is continuous. Oh, no need for apology. She'll be all right. Norm says it's a zoo. According to the Sumerians, we are a zoo because the way the Sumerians describe the enclosure is pretty much a damn zoo. When I saw my first dead person, I never thought of my house as haunted. I was actually atheist. As in, you die and nothing afterwards. Okay. Yeah. People like T-Bone. Time Bomb. I don't know why they call him T-Bone. Just left the I'm out completely out of it. But Time Bomb. My name is JD Time Bomb. Sounds like a comic book character from one of them low-level ass comic books. I'm JD Time Bomb. I can make time go back 3 seconds. It's my power. It's be a pretty cool power, but you need more than 3 seconds. I know what you mean. I'm lazy as fuck right now. That my son is grown and independent, but when he was a kid, busting my ass for him was my motivation. Yeah. Look, if I did not have kids, one, there's no way I would have been in Atlanta as long as I've been in Atlanta. I like living. I like moving around. I don't like being stationary. I like moving and seeing other places, living in other places. I would have been left Atlanta. I would have been left America. But I've been in Atlanta since 2003. 2, 3, somewhere around in there. Got divorced in 08, but I refused to leave the state that I refused to leave wherever my kids were while they were still coming up. They grown now. I am ready to go. But the way that I worked over these years was to provide a better life for them, to make sure that I'm there for them. And to be there for them even as an adult. I was explaining to Angelina last night while we was driving through the city smoking cigars after dinner, coming from Pollo Comprero. If y'all got a Pollo Comprero, whatever how you say it, you need to go eat that. That place was good. Little quick serve place. But my daughter, we passed this building. I was like, yeah, that's where Sydney and Bree used to live. And I told her how much they was paying in rent and how they were splitting it. And I had told Sydney, stop renting places with other people. One, stop renting, but stop renting places with other people and you can't afford it yourself. And then 2 of the roommates moved out and both of them were suffering. I was happy that I was in a position to help her to pay her rent, every now and then, to buy food for her or whatever that they needed in order to survive those remaining like 6 months there. That was something I didn't have. One of the houses that I owned, I wound up losing the foreclosure. I didn't have anybody who could come in there and help a brother out to that level. So part of being that parent now is to being able to do that for my kid. I worked hard to be able to do that. And that's a joyous thing. That's a joyous thing. But now, them jokers are getting better off. She living where she can pay for it her damn self. All 3 of them are doing their own thing. Whew. Like, I don't think anybody asked me for money last month. Let me see. Yeah, ain't none of them jokers asked me. My son never asked me for money. But yeah, nobody asked me for money last month. That was a good month. That was a good month. Being new, can you explain Grand Rising to me? There was this huge debate going on between people a few years back, between Good Morning and Grand Rising. And I will admit, I was on the wrong end of that debate as far as the meaning of good morning, where it comes from, the etymology of it. I was on the wrong end of it. I did make a subsequent video explaining that, hey, I was on the wrong end of that damn argument after further discussion and study. Where people were saying good morning derives from the same word that the word mourning, when you're mourning someone, comes from. And historically, there's some historical, it looks like that might be right, but then as I dug deeper into it, ain't got shit to do with each other. Because there was a thing that people mourned in the morning. When somebody died, you mourn them in the morning. That was a cultural thing by a certain British group. I forget which one during the time frame. And so instead of good morning, telling people continue to mourn in the morning, it was Grand Rising. So that's where I started saying that. But I dug a little deeper and deeper, and they ain't had shit to do with each other. At the end of the day, they didn't. But I still just used the term. Just to use the term. You have your opinion, I have mine. Is there a God is there a God and there is a Satan? I don't know if you meant to put is there a God? Is there a God? Oh, so I'm correct. I'm gonna take that other is out. You have your opinion, I have mine. There is a God, there is a Satan. Okay. I disagree in the format if you're saying it from a Christian or Muslim or Judaic, from an Abrahamic standpoint, or any of the other religion standpoints. I would disagree with you in that regard. In the regard of a God and a Satan, well, Satan is administrator. So I replace that with devil. There is a positive and a negative There is one or the other, but it dwells within you and every other person that is of consciousness. And its effects are determined by the strength of will of the individual person and yourself. So I lean more to my God part of me, God is part of me, than I do to the lower vibrational devil part of me. Me leaning to that, my causations affect other people to increase their vibration to their God side. If somebody comes to me and they are vibrating lower on their devil side, depending upon what their causations are, it won't affect me and cause me to go into a lower vibration. Even when I defend myself, if I had to defend myself physically from somebody in a devil lower vibrational mode, say if while we was driving through downtown last night, there was a car that pulled up and I didn't like the way that car pulled up. The protective side of me positioned myself to quickly be able to grab my gun because I didn't, the way they pulled up was a little sketchy. So if they was functioning on a lower vibration, my higher vibration was ready to protect me and Angelina in the car, but I would never lower vibrationally attack somebody in that manner just for the sake of just doing it. Now, do I get a little lower vibration when somebody drive real stupid? Yeah, but that is where, as far as I will agree upon, like a God and devil inside of you and inside of every other conscious being. Now, animals like lions, tigers, no. They ain't there yet. What are your thoughts on religious people think that meditation is demonic, evil, or like summoning demons? That they don't understand what meditation is? That anything outside of what their religious doctrine of today, because these religious doctrines change, that they demonize because it's outside of theirs, but they will do the same thing and say that it's good. They say to meditate on the word, meditate on God. They try to equate prayer and meditation as the same. And I was like, no, meditation is going inward. Prayer is looking outward. But they just don't know. And they are confined by their religious doctrine. You can either, you're talking to Elise. I think it's something to do with the soul. I don't know what you're talking about. As far as meditation or God and devil. Sure. I don't know all that, but either way, I like Grand Rising so much better. Yeah, and that's why it stuck with me, because I just like it better. If somebody when somebody comes to me and they say good morning, I say good morning to them. I respect people for what they do, if they, and respond to them. But sometimes people say good morning to me, I say Grand Rising. People will say happy birthday, and I'll say happy born day. Because it's your born day. It's the day you were born. It's not your birthday. You're not being birthed out today. But I get what both of them are saying. But I just choose born day. I just like it better. A lot of people like to say happy solar return because you took another trip around the sun. Of course, the flat earthers would disagree with that, but right. Mourning and mourning is the same as pray and pray. They are the same vibration, spell casting. Not really. Because pray, P-R-E-Y, is to prey on someone, like take advantage of them. But a person can pray for themselves looking outwardly to some deity, and they're not taking advantage of another person. So, the English language is screwed up like that. Like hour and hour. H-O-U-R and O-U-R. Hour and hour sound exactly the same, but are vastly different in meaning. One is the calculation of time, whereas the other one is talking about possession. So English, especially the American English, is a jacked up language. It's jacked up. According to NASA's depiction of the solar system, we should never have night. Yes, you would, dude. You would still have night even in that, because when the part of the Earth that's not, if the Earth didn't have a rotation, sure, but kind of like the moon doesn't have a rotation, so it's always facing away from the sun in its movements, because it's moving without rotating while moving. It's not doing this. It's not. Ooh, there's coffee still in there. Shit. It's not doing this. If it's not doing this, it's not rotating as it goes around the sun, but it's just going around the sun like this. So the handle of my cup would never see light because it's rotating in this way. Now, so yeah, it wouldn't work. Wouldn't work at all. I mean, that doesn't make sense. It wouldn't make sense at all. We would still have night, and that's why we have night, because of the rotation of the Earth. Now, Venus, I was watching this video about Venus 2 nights ago, and I didn't know Venus rotates so slow that it takes 260 some odd Earth years. I think it said 260 Earth years for Venus to rotate on this axis and have one day. So as it's going around, it's moving really slow in its rotation. I know you're trying to trick me into a whole flat Earth conversation, Valentino. You ain't gonna trick me, bro. We ain't going for that today. Yeah, I see how big the sun is. What's that got to do with anything? If you have the solar system set up that way, where the Earth is revolving on an axis and going around the sun, you will have night and day. And because of the Earth tilts backwards and forwards, you have seasons. If the Earth didn't tilt, didn't wobble, you wouldn't have seasons. When we had the live about the moon, we talked about that without the moon, the Earth wouldn't have a tilt. And then we would pretty much not have seasons. Every place on the Earth would maintain the same season year round. But we have seasons because of the tilt. We have the tilt because of the gravitational pull of the moon. There's that part. Now, and we have that tilt because I know what people gonna say, well, somebody, hold on, y'all. Somebody, they said in the video, on a comment, Mars has 2 moons, but yet it doesn't have rain. I had to breathe before I responded, because I almost responded very rudely. But I was like, because it doesn't have water. You got to have water to have rain. And then I put in there, I was like, I hope you're joking, because you got to have water. Now, when you look at every other planet in the solar system, their moon is not like our moon is a quarter size of our planet. Every other planet that has moons, the moons are way smaller than the planet itself. So because of that difference, our moon has a pull on the Earth that creates the tilt. So before somebody can say other planets got moons and they don't have the same kind of tilt, is because the ratio of size, distance, creates a different gravitational pull, which creates a tilt. If aliens came in direct contact with us, some people would say that they're our gods. Some people would still say that today. Not as many because we are scientifically more advanced. 2,000-3,000 years ago, damn near everybody would have said that they were the gods. They would not have said that they were aliens. But today, the overwhelming majority of people say aliens. If the sun was within our solar system, dude, we would all die of radiation poisoning. We're not getting into flat Earth. You stop, Valentino, stop it, stop. I found out that a lot of planets are failed planets. I got Jupiter back together. What? I found out that a lot of planets are failed planets. I got Jupiter back together though. Y'all be tripping sometimes. Yeah, we would all fry. Cosmology is the only discipline where what does that word mean? I didn't keep up. Where the oh shit. If I had my glasses, I could see where the verbiage didn't keep up with it. For example, the sun sets or the moon or the sun rises. The sun doesn't do any of those things. The earth that spin. True. The verbiage didn't keep up. The verbiage did not. I see what you're saying. The verbiage didn't keep up. I was reading that. I couldn't see the I without my glasses. I was like, what's verbiage? What's verbiage? Verbiage. It would. You got a better chance of making me a Christian than you do of making me a flat earther. I literally tried. I went and I watched a bunch of videos of flat earthers because I was like, okay, all right. But then I was like, this is bullshit because I do like science. And I was like, nah, it's not quite working. Math ain't mathing. Science ain't sciencing. But yeah, that would be. It is weird that the verbiage of cosmology does not keep up. But how would you describe it? How would you change it from sunset to sunrise? Like, what verbiage would you use? And I think that's probably what makes it hard, because I'm trying to think, how would you describe sunrise and sunset? Because the sun ain't doing it. Earthrise, and it's not the earth rising. Morning spin, evening spin out. Well, spin in, spin out. Yeah, spin in, spin out. Right. Well, that's what I was thinking. Like the morning spin, morning spin in, morning spin out. I'm going to watch the morning spin in. No, honey, let's go watch the morning spin out. See, that's not sexy, Brian. That's not sexy. You know, it's different when you're like, hey, babe, how you doing? You having a good day today? Yeah, I thought that maybe, we have a picnic. We'll go and watch the sunset. I got candles. You know what I'm saying? See, it works better. Hey, baby, I thought we'd go in and watch the earth spin out. That don't work. I'm going to go watch the sunset. Now I want to come pick you up around, 5 in the morning so we can have breakfast and watch the sunrise. You see what I'm saying? That's better. Oh, y'all got problems today. Fuck sexy, you want the truth. I'm with you. Yeah, describing it accurately will be hard. I expect you as a former military to not believe in the flat earth. We believe in that. We believe that the earth moves. So we don't think we're on a disc card like planet. So you went in with the wrong intentions. Huh? I'm not exactly sure what you mean by that one. Earth is a wave of energy, aka a torus field. A torus field rotates. So you think the Earth is a donut? You think the Earth has a donut shape, like a tube donut shape? Because you say it's a torus field, right? I've never heard anybody say that one. That's a different one. Oh, here comes sackcloth all late because we show about to get off in a minute. Because I have a client session at 3, so I'm gonna get off so I can have some lunch and everything before my client session. But I'm curious, torus field. Are you saying that the Earth is a donut? Because that would be, NASA says that the Earth is a pear-shaped donut. I do study NASA. It does. It's not a perfect sphere, but it's now a hard. Now you know your boy Columbus thought it was shaped like a pear, but like hardcore pear, like little and then fat, real fat. So are you saying little and real fat like Columbus, or are you saying just like gradual? But I do know, being out on the middle of the water on the Navy ships, if the Earth was flat, them other boats wouldn't sink into the water. Planets are supposed to become stars? No, I'm gonna disagree with you on that one. Not made out of the right material to do that. Stars are stars, planets are planets. Other shit is other shit. But we do have to get off here. I appreciate you guys. Heaven, hell, Yahweh, devil, as far as how religions describe them, all religions describe them, none of them exist in that format. Heaven and hell is in your life right now, and it'll be in your life no matter what happens when you leave this one. You are the God and goddess. You are also the freaking devil. But you get to choose where you vibrate if you desire to make that choice. Other than that, other people make the choice for you. They make the choice for you. To give you an example of people making the choice for them, when I was in Germany, I met quite a few people who were ashamed and embarrassed that they fell into what the Nazis were doing, and it was outside of their morality, but because of the surrounding situation, they fell into it anyway, which is what most racist people do as well. So you can be your own God, goddess, or you can be your own devil. Lucifer and Satan ain't got shit to do with the devil, nor does the serpent. That is some made up bullshit by what became the Catholic Church. So with that, we're going to adjourn for today. Wait a minute. Well, see, Errol, you know where Errol been? Errol ain't been here for a while. If all hearts and minds are clear, the doors of the church, the temple of learning, are now open. I want to thank everybody who shares these videos. Please continue to share the video. Share all the videos. Now, if you own, look, every video that I post on Facebook and YouTube should have however many of y'all who watch these videos on YouTube and Facebook, there should be an equal number of shares. So I expect y'all to share these videos. That way we keep on doing it. It makes the algorithm work better. It makes everything better. So share the videos. I know some of y'all already do, so I'm not referring to you. I'm referring to the rest of you who don't. Share the goddamn videos. And the ones that I post later on today, share the videos. All right? This is my will being the causation for the effect of y'all sharing the videos so that we force the algorithm to spread the information. All right? All right. So y'all have a good one. And I will see you guys tomorrow. And I have no idea what we're talking about tomorrow, which is the beauty of it, because now you're in suspense. What the hell bullshit is he going to come up with tomorrow? So I see you guys tomorrow. Have a great day. Remember always that you have to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibration. And if y'all want to keep talking to each other, I think you still can, even after I end this stream. You have to go and start over, A-Track. Yep. Starts around 10:30 every day.